Hello, and welcome to Lotus Light Teachings. Today, we're diving into timeless wisdom from Buddhist and Zen teachings. Together, we'll explore profound stories and life lessons that reveal what it truly means to be strong, both in spirit and in character. Grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's embark on this journey of discovery and personal growth. Have you ever stood still in the middle of a bustling crowd, feeling as if the world was moving too fast around you? Or perhaps you've held on tightly to something, a memory, a regret, or even an ambition, only to feel it weighing you down instead of lifting you up. These moments, so universal yet deeply personal, remind us of the complexities of life. In today's conversation, we'll look at strength not as physical dominance or worldly success, but as resilience of the heart, clarity of the mind, and compassion for both ourselves and others. Buddhist and Zen philosophies have long taught us that true strength lies in the subtle yet profound ways we navigate life's challenges, embrace simplicity, and find purpose in adversity. To guide our reflection, we'll explore 6 signs of inner strength through relatable stories and practical insights. Whether you're seeking peace in a chaotic world or searching for direction on your personal journey, these lessons will resonate deeply. Let's begin with a story, a simple but powerful parable that holds the key to mastering one of life's most profound arts, letting go. As we move through these 6 principles, I encourage you to see yourself in these stories. Imagine the sage guiding you, the monk's wisdom lighting your path, or the challenges reshaping your own journey. Each principle is a stepping stone, leading you closer to understanding what it means to live with strength, balance, and grace. 1. Mastering the art of letting go, expanding the vessel of the mind. A young seeker approached a sage with a heavy heart, burdened by sorrow that seemed inescapable. He asked for relief, yearning to understand why his pain felt so overwhelming. The sage, instead of offering direct advice, handed the seeker a fistful of salt and asked him to dissolve it in a small cup of water. The seeker obeyed and drank. As expected, the water tasted unbearably bitter. Then, the sage led the seeker to a vast, serene lake. He asked him to dissolve the same amount of salt into the lake and drink again. This time, the water tasted fresh, its vastness diffusing the bitterness entirely. The sage smiled and said, "Your suffering is like the salt. Its bitterness depends on the vessel that holds it. Expand your mind, and the bitterness will dissolve." This parable carries a timeless message. Suffering is not defined solely by external circumstances, but by the capacity of our minds to hold it. Learning to let go of attachments, expectations, and pain frees us from being trapped in a small cup of bitterness. It allows us to transform our perspective, expand our awareness, and embrace life's challenges with equanimity and grace. The Buddha's first teaching, the Four Noble Truths, acknowledges the universality of suffering or dukkha. It exists in various forms: physical pain, emotional turmoil, or existential dissatisfaction. Yet, suffering is not inherent to life itself. It arises from our attachments and aversions. We cling to what we desire, resist what we dislike, and lament what we've lost. This clinging is like gripping a handful of salt, intensifying the bitterness of every experience. Letting go, therefore, is not about erasing suffering but about changing the way we hold it. When we loosen our grip, we create space for healing and growth. But what does it mean to let go, and how can we apply this wisdom in our modern lives? Attachments come in many forms, to possessions, relationships, memories, and even our identities. Consider someone who loses a cherished job. Beyond the practical challenges, the loss often feels personal, a blow to their sense of worth and purpose. This attachment to a specific role or outcome magnifies the pain, turning it into a bitter cup. In contrast, letting go means seeing the job as one aspect of a larger journey, not a definitive measure of value. It means acknowledging the loss, grieving it if necessary, but also recognizing the opportunities that may arise from its absence. This shift requires expanding the vessel of the mind, as the sage in the story suggests. The Buddhist teaching of anicca, or impermanence, reminds us that everything in life is transient. By embracing impermanence, we soften our grip on what we hold dear. We begin to see that clinging does not prevent loss. It only deepens our suffering when change inevitably occurs. Imagine standing at the edge of a mountain, looking out at a vast landscape. The problems that once seemed all-consuming now feel smaller, placed in the context of a greater whole. This is the power of perspective, expanding our view to include not just the immediate pain but the broader arc of life. One way to cultivate this perspective is through mindfulness. When we practice mindfulness, we observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. This creates a mental distance, allowing us to see our suffering as a passing experience rather than a permanent state. It's like stepping back from a painting to view the entire canvas instead of focusing on a single painful detail. Consider the story of J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. Before achieving worldwide fame, she faced rejection after rejection, struggling as a single mother with limited resources. It would have been easy for her to let bitterness consume her, to view her failures as insurmountable. But instead, she expanded her perspective, using her struggles as inspiration for her writing. Rowling's story illustrates how letting go of immediate setbacks can create space for greater opportunities. Releasing expectation. Letting go also involves releasing rigid expectations of ourselves, others, and life itself. Expectations often lead to disappointment when reality doesn't align with our desires. For example, in relationships, we may expect a partner to meet all our needs, only to feel hurt when they fall short. By letting go of these expectations, we allow relationships to unfold naturally, rooted in mutual understanding rather than unmet demands. The Eightfold Path, a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, offers guidance for navigating such challenges. One of its principles, right view, encourages us to see things as they are, not as we wish them to be. This clarity helps us accept life's impermanence and unpredictability, reducing our attachment to specific outcomes. In modern terms, consider a student who doesn't get into their dream university. They might initially feel crushed, their expectations shattered. But by letting go of the specific outcome, they open themselves to new possibilities, perhaps a different school where they thrive in unexpected ways. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on dreams. It means remaining flexible and open to life's twists and turns. The role of forgiveness. Forgiveness is a profound act of letting go. When we hold on to resentment or anger, we carry the weight of those emotions, allowing them to shape our thoughts and actions. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harm or forgetting the past. It means releasing the hold that pain has over us. Consider Nelson Mandela, who, after spending 27 years in prison, chose forgiveness over vengeance. His ability to let go of anger not only freed him emotionally but also paved the way for reconciliation in a divided nation. Mandela's example shows that forgiveness is not just a gift to others. It is a liberation for ourselves. In our own lives, forgiveness might mean letting go of a past hurt, a betrayal, or even our own mistakes. It requires compassion for others and for ourselves. The Metta Sutta, a Buddhist teaching on loving kindness, encourages us to cultivate goodwill toward all beings, including those who have wronged us. This practice helps us release the bitterness that binds us, replacing it with a sense of peace. Practical steps for letting go. Letting go is not a single act but an ongoing practice. Here are some steps to begin. Acknowledge your pain. The first step is to recognize what you're holding on to. Name it, whether it's a fear, a regret, or an expectation. Awareness is the foundation of change. Practice mindfulness. Spend time observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment. Meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in silence can help you create the mental space to process your feelings. Reframe your perspective. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How might it contribute to my growth? Reframing challenges as opportunities for learning shifts the focus from loss to potential. Cultivate gratitude. Gratitude helps us focus on what we have rather than what we lack. By appreciating the present moment, we reduce our attachment to what is gone. Seek support. Letting go can be difficult, but you don't have to do it alone. Share your journey with trusted friends, a therapist, or a spiritual community. The art of letting go is a journey of liberation. It frees us from the bitterness of the small cup and allows us to drink from the vast, fresh waters of the lake. It is not about erasing suffering, but about transforming our relationship with it. Seeing pain as a teacher, loss as a reminder of life's preciousness, and impermanence as a path to wisdom. In the words of the Buddha, "You only lose what you cling to." By releasing our attachments, we create space for joy, growth, and peace. May we all learn to expand the vessel of our minds, dissolving the bitterness of suffering in the vastness of compassion and understanding. In this act of letting go, we find not just relief but a deeper connection to the beauty and impermanence of life itself. 2. Mastering the art of letting go, embracing change with compassion and wisdom. The young seeker approached the sage with a heart burdened by sorrow, desperate for relief. His eyes mirrored the pain of someone trapped in the cycles of grief and longing, unable to release the past. In his hands, he held the weight of his suffering, memories of loss, fears of the future, and regrets that clouded his present. The sage, calm and deliberate, handed him a fistful of salt. "Dissolve this into a small cup of water and drink," he instructed. The seeker obeyed, wincing at the bitter taste. The sage then led him to a tranquil lake nearby and repeated the task. This time, the water tasted fresh, the salt's bitterness imperceptible. "Your suffering is like salt," the sage explained. "Its bitterness depends on the vessel that holds it. Expand your mind, and the bitterness will dissolve." This story invites us to reflect on our own capacity to let go of suffering. The salt represents the inevitable pain of life, loss, change, disappointment. Yet, like the lake, our minds have the potential to expand, to hold sorrow without being consumed by it. Letting go is not about denying pain, but about transforming our relationship with it, finding the strength to embrace life's impermanence and move forward with wisdom. The Buddhist teachings on impermanence, or anicca, remind us that all things, joy, pain, success, failure, are transient. By clinging to what cannot last, we create suffering. But in learning to release our grip, we discover the freedom to live fully in the present. Life often confronts us with moments of profound loss, perhaps the death of a loved one, the end of a cherished relationship, or the sudden upheaval of plans. In these moments, it is natural to ask, "Why me?" The Buddha's teachings offer not a quick answer, but a path of understanding through the Four Noble Truths. The first truth acknowledges that suffering is a universal aspect of life. The second reveals its cause, our attachment and craving. The third offers hope, showing that liberation from suffering is possible. And the fourth provides a way forward through the Eightfold Path. These truths invite us to examine our attachments. What are we holding on to? Is it a memory of how things used to be, an ideal of how they should be, or a fear of what they might become? Each attachment is like a stone in the seeker's cup, making the water increasingly bitter. Letting go means emptying the cup, not forgetting, but expanding our capacity to hold the full range of life's experiences without judgment or resistance. The story of Kisa Gautami, a grieving mother from the Buddhist canon, illustrates this process. After losing her only child, Kisa sought the Buddha, pleading for her son's life to be restored. The Buddha, understanding her pain, asked her to bring a mustard seed from a household that had never known loss. Kisa went from house to house, only to discover that every family had experienced suffering in some form. Through this journey, she came to realize that her pain was not unique but part of the human condition. This realization allowed her to release her individual sorrow and find solace in shared humanity. Kisa's story speaks to the transformative power of perspective. When we narrow our focus, pain can feel insurmountable. But by widening our view, recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings and the universality of suffering, we begin to heal. Letting go, then, is not about isolating ourselves from pain, but about connecting with the greater whole. In the modern world, letting go often feels counterintuitive. We are encouraged to hold tightly to our goals, possessions, and identities, equating attachment with stability. Yet, this clinging creates a fragile sense of self, vulnerable to the inevitable changes of life. Consider someone who loses a high-paying job they had tied to their sense of worth. Without that role, they feel adrift, unsure of who they are. By letting go of the need to define themselves through external success, they create space to explore new possibilities and rediscover their intrinsic value. The principle of right view, one of the steps on the Eightfold Path, encourages us to see things as they truly are, not through the lens of desire or fear, but with clarity and acceptance. This perspective helps us understand that clinging to what is impermanent only deepens our suffering. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means aligning ourselves with the flow of life, trusting its unfolding even when we cannot predict its course. Forgiveness is a powerful form of letting go. When we hold on to resentment, we carry the weight of past hurts, allowing them to shape our present. Forgiveness is not about condoning harm, but about freeing ourselves from the grip of anger and bitterness. It is an act of compassion, both for ourselves and for others. Consider the story of Nelson Mandela, who emerged from 27 years of imprisonment with a heart full of forgiveness. Instead of seeking revenge, he chose reconciliation, understanding that clinging to anger would only perpetuate suffering. Mandela's ability to let go of hatred transformed not only his own life but also the course of a nation, showing that forgiveness is a path to liberation. In our own lives, forgiveness might mean releasing the pain of a betrayal, the regret of a missed opportunity, or the guilt of our own mistakes. It requires courage to face these emotions and compassion to let them go. Yet, in doing so, we unburden ourselves and make room for healing and growth. Gratitude is another practice that helps us let go of what no longer serves us. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our perspective from scarcity to abundance. This shift does not erase pain but allows us to see it alongside joy. For example, a person grieving the loss of a loved one might find solace in the memories they shared, the love that remains even in absence. Gratitude expands the vessel of the mind, diffusing the bitterness of sorrow with the sweetness of appreciation. The process of letting go often begins with mindfulness. By cultivating awareness of our thoughts and emotions, we learn to observe them without becoming entangled. A person navigating a breakup, for example, might use mindfulness to sit with their feelings of loss, acknowledging them without judgment. This practice creates a space where healing can occur naturally, without the added burden of self-criticism or denial. Mindfulness also teaches us to embrace the present moment. When we let go of the past and release our grip on the future, we open ourselves to the beauty of now. The Buddhist teaching, "You only lose what you cling to," reminds us that true freedom lies in surrender. It is not about erasing the past or controlling the future, but about being fully alive in this moment, just as it is. Letting go is not a single act, but a lifelong practice. It requires patience, self-compassion, and trust in life's unfolding. Each time we release an attachment, we create space for something new, a deeper understanding, a stronger connection, or a renewed sense of purpose. Like the lake in the story, our capacity to hold life's experiences expands, transforming bitterness into wisdom. As you reflect on your own life, consider, what are you holding onto that no longer serves you? What might you gain by letting it go? These questions are not easy, but they are essential. They invite us to step into the unknown with courage and grace, trusting that even in loss, there is a path to freedom. May we all find the strength to let go, the wisdom to expand our perspective, and the compassion to embrace life's impermanence. In the act of release, we discover not only relief from suffering but also the boundless joy of being. Letting go is not the end. It is the beginning of a deeper, freer, and more authentic life. 3. Practicing compassion for yourself and others, a path to liberation. In the quiet embrace of a monastery nestled within lush mountains, a novice monk sat alone, his face shadowed with frustration. Day after day, he had strived to master the art of meditation, yet his thoughts fluttered like restless birds. "Why can't I focus? Why am I failing?" he muttered, the voice of self-reproach rising with every passing moment. An elder monk, observing the novice's struggle, approached and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Would you scold a bird for struggling to fly?" the elder asked gently. The novice looked up, puzzled. "Of course not," he replied. "Then why?" continued the elder. "Do you scold yourself for learning to grow? Be gentle and you will soar." This story offers a profound lesson in self-compassion, a concept deeply rooted in Buddhist teachings. It reminds us that growth is not linear, that struggles are natural, and that kindness toward oneself is not indulgence but necessity. Compassion, both for ourselves and for others, is the bridge that connects us to our shared humanity, offering solace in a world often marked by pain and loss. When we think of compassion, we often imagine grand gestures of charity or acts of forgiveness. But true compassion begins within, in the quiet, unspoken ways we treat ourselves. To fully understand this practice, let us explore the essence of compassion through the lens of Buddhist philosophy, real-life examples, and its transformative power in modern life. The Buddha once taught, "If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete." These words challenge a common misconception, that self-compassion is selfish or weak. In reality, self-compassion is the foundation upon which all other forms of kindness are built. Without it, we risk depleting our emotional reserves, leaving little energy to care for others. Imagine a mother tending to her child. She works tirelessly, sacrificing her sleep, her meals, her time. At first, her devotion seems noble, but over time, exhaustion sets in. She becomes irritable, her patience wanes, and her health declines. Her inability to care for herself ultimately limits her ability to care for her child. This is the paradox of compassion. To give to others, we must also give to ourselves. Self-compassion is not about ignoring our flaws or avoiding responsibility. It is about recognizing our imperfections with tenderness, just as we would console a friend who stumbles. When the novice monk in the story berates himself, he embodies a struggle many of us face. The internal critic that magnifies our failures and whispers that we are not enough. But as the elder monk suggests, growth requires gentleness. A bird cannot learn to fly under the weight of harsh judgment, and neither can we. In the modern world, self-compassion is more critical than ever. Social media bombards us with curated images of success, beauty, and happiness, often leading us to compare ourselves unfavorably to others. We internalize these comparisons, fueling feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. Practicing self-compassion helps us break this cycle. It allows us to acknowledge our unique journey without the need to measure it against others. Take the example of J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Before achieving worldwide fame, Rowling faced immense challenges: poverty, single parenthood, and repeated rejections from publishers. In interviews, she has spoken about how she learned to be kind to herself during these difficult times, allowing her creativity to flourish despite external setbacks. Her story illustrates that self-compassion is not just a balm for pain, but a catalyst for resilience and growth. Extending compassion to others is equally transformative. The Buddha emphasized the practice of metta, or loving kindness, as a means of dissolving barriers between ourselves and others. Metta begins with wishing oneself well and gradually expands outward to encompass family, friends, strangers, and even those who cause us harm. This practice is a reminder that we are all interconnected, that the suffering of one is the suffering of all. Consider the story of Nelson Mandela, who, after spending 27 years in prison, emerged without bitterness. Instead of seeking revenge, he chose reconciliation, fostering unity in a deeply divided nation. Mandela's ability to extend compassion to his oppressors did not stem from weakness but from profound strength and wisdom. He recognized that hatred only perpetuates suffering, while compassion has the power to heal. In our daily lives, opportunities to practice compassion abound. When a colleague makes a mistake, do we react with anger or understanding? When a stranger cuts us off in traffic, do we respond with frustration or patience? These moments, though small, are the building blocks of a compassionate life. They remind us that compassion is not reserved for extraordinary circumstances, but is woven into the fabric of everyday interactions. Compassion also plays a crucial role in addressing loss and change. Life is marked by impermanence, a truth encapsulated in the Buddhist concept of anicca. Relationships end, loved ones pass away, seasons of life come and go. In the face of such inevitabilities, compassion becomes a guiding light, helping us navigate the grief and uncertainty that accompany change. Imagine a person grieving the death of a loved one. Their pain is raw, their world irrevocably altered. In this state, self-compassion means allowing themselves to feel their emotions fully, without judgment. It means acknowledging that healing takes time and that their sorrow does not diminish their strength. Compassion toward others might involve reaching out to those who share their loss, creating a sense of community and mutual support. The practice of compassion is deeply tied to the Buddhist understanding of dukkha, the first of the Four Noble Truths. Dukkha acknowledges that suffering is an inherent part of life, but it also points to a path of liberation. By cultivating compassion, we transform suffering into connection. When we see others through the lens of empathy, their struggles become reflections of our own, and we begin to dismantle the illusion of separateness. Compassion is not always easy. It requires vulnerability, the courage to face pain, both our own and that of others. But it also brings profound rewards. Studies in psychology have shown that acts of compassion release oxytocin, often called the love hormone, fostering feelings of warmth and bonding. Compassionate individuals report higher levels of happiness and lower levels of stress, demonstrating that kindness is not only altruistic but deeply nourishing. To cultivate compassion, start with small, intentional practices. Mindful breathing. When you feel overwhelmed, take a moment to breathe deeply. As you inhale, imagine drawing in compassion for yourself. As you exhale, imagine extending that compassion to others. Loving kindness meditation. Spend a few minutes each day silently repeating phrases such as, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease." Gradually extend these wishes to others, including those with whom you have difficulty. Gratitude practice. Reflect on the kindness you have received from others, whether it's a friend's support or a stranger's smile. Let this gratitude inspire you to pay it forward. Self-compassion journal. Write down moments when you were hard on yourself and reframe them with kindness. What would you say to a friend in the same situation? Say it to yourself. Random acts of kindness. Perform small acts of generosity, such as holding the door for someone or leaving an encouraging note for a colleague. These gestures ripple outward, creating a culture of compassion. As we navigate the challenges of life, let us remember the wisdom of the elder monk. Be gentle, and you will soar. Compassion is not a destination but a journey, a daily practice of opening our hearts to ourselves and others. It is a reminder that, even in a world filled with suffering, we have the power to create moments of healing and joy. In the words of the Dalai Lama, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. May the simple truth guide us all, bringing peace to our hearts and to the world around us. For remaining unshaken by external circumstances, the power of equanimity. In a small, humble village, nestled between rolling hills, there lived a farmer whose life seemed to mirror the unpredictability of nature itself. One day, his horse ran away, leaving him without the means to plow his fields. His neighbors came to console him, lamenting his misfortune. "Such bad luck," they exclaimed. But the farmer simply shrugged and replied, "Maybe." A few days later, the horse returned, bringing with it a herd of wild horses. Now the farmer was wealthy with new animals, and the neighbors celebrated his good fortune. "What wonderful luck!" they cheered. But the farmer, with the same calm demeanor, replied, "Maybe." Soon after, while taming one of the wild horses, the farmer's son fell and broke his leg. The neighbors, shaking their heads in pity, declared, "What terrible luck!" Once again, the farmer said, "Maybe." Not long after, soldiers came to the village, conscripting all able-bodied young men to fight in a distant war. The farmer's son, with his broken leg, was spared. "What incredible luck," the neighbors said. And yet again, the farmer replied, "Maybe." This timeless parable, often attributed to Zen and Taoist teachings, encapsulates the essence of equanimity, the ability to remain unshaken amid the fluctuations of life. The farmer's steady mindset demonstrates a profound understanding of impermanence and the interconnectedness of events. It invites us to reflect on our own reactions to life's ups and downs, and to cultivate the resilience needed to navigate them with grace. Life is, by its very nature, unpredictable. Plans unravel, opportunities arise unexpectedly, relationships change, and challenges appear without warning. Yet, so often, we cling to a desire for control, for certainty, for outcomes that align with our expectations. This clinging creates suffering, as we resist the inherent impermanence of life. The Buddha taught that suffering, or dukkha, arises from attachment and aversion, our tendency to grasp at what we desire and push away what we fear. But when we recognize that all things are transient, we begin to loosen our grip. This understanding, known as anicca or impermanence, is a cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy. It reminds us that both joy and sorrow are fleeting, that every high and low is part of a greater flow. Imagine losing a job. In the moment, it might feel like a disaster, a blow to your self-worth, your stability, your sense of purpose. But what if, like the farmer, you adopted a mindset of maybe? Perhaps this loss will lead to new opportunities, to the pursuit of a passion long neglected, or to a deeper understanding of your own resilience. By reframing the situation, you open yourself to possibilities that might otherwise be obscured by despair. This perspective is not about denying pain or pretending everything is fine. Rather, it is about holding space for uncertainty and trusting that life's unfolding is beyond our immediate understanding. Just as the farmer could not foresee the chain of events following each twist of fate, we, too, cannot predict how today's challenges might shape tomorrow's blessings. Equanimity, the state of being unshaken, is not innate. It is cultivated through practice and reflection. The Four Noble Truths offer a roadmap for this cultivation. First, we acknowledge the presence of suffering in life. Second, we recognize its cause, our attachment to outcomes and our aversion to change. Third, we understand that freedom from suffering is possible. And fourth, we embark on the Eightfold Path, a set of principles that guide us toward inner peace. One of these principles, right view, invites us to see life clearly without distortion. When we understand that external circumstances are not inherently good or bad but are shaped by our perceptions, we begin to approach them with greater balance. This clarity allows us to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Consider the story of Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor. In his memoir, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl recounts how, even in the horrors of a concentration camp, he found freedom in his attitude. While he could not control his external circumstances, he realized he could choose his response. This insight became the foundation of his philosophy, that life's meaning is not dictated by events, but by the way we interpret and engage with them. Frankl's story echoes the wisdom of the farmer's maybe. It reminds us that equanimity is not passive acceptance, but an active engagement with life's uncertainties. It is the courage to face difficulty with an open heart and the humility to accept joy without clinging to it. In the modern world, cultivating equanimity can feel particularly challenging. We are bombarded by news, social media, and the constant pressure to achieve and excel. Setbacks often feel magnified, while moments of success can be fleeting and overshadowed by the next goal. How, then, can we remain steady amid this whirlwind? One approach is mindfulness, the practice of being present with whatever arises, without judgment. Through mindfulness, we train ourselves to observe our thoughts and emotions rather than becoming entangled in them. For example, if you receive criticism at work, your initial reaction might be defensiveness or self-doubt. But with mindfulness, you pause, take a breath, and acknowledge the feelings without letting them define you. This pause creates space for a more balanced response. Another tool is gratitude. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our perspective from scarcity to abundance. Even in difficult times, there are moments of beauty and connection. A kind word from a friend, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the quiet comfort of a favorite book. Gratitude anchors us in the present and reminds us that life is not defined by a single moment or event. Meditation, too, is a powerful practice for developing equanimity. By sitting in stillness and observing the impermanence of thoughts, sensations, and emotions, we begin to internalize the truth of anicca. Over time, this practice builds resilience, allowing us to meet life's fluctuations with greater ease. Equanimity does not mean detachment in the sense of apathy or indifference. It is not about withdrawing from the world but engaging with it fully, without being swept away by its tides. It is the balance of a tightrope walker, the stillness of a mountain amid shifting weather. This balance can be seen in the story of the Dalai Lama, who, despite being exiled from Tibet and witnessing the suffering of his people, continues to radiate compassion and joy. His equanimity is rooted not in denial of pain but in a deep understanding of interconnectedness and impermanence. He often speaks of seeing challenges as opportunities for growth, a sentiment that mirrors the farmer's maybe. As we navigate our own lives, we can draw inspiration from these teachings. Whether facing a personal loss, a career setback, or the uncertainty of a changing world, we can choose how we respond. We can let fear and frustration dictate our actions, or we can embrace the wisdom of equanimity, trusting that each moment is part of a greater journey. The story of the farmer invites us to consider, what would happen if we met life's events with maybe? How might our perspective shift if we released the need to label experiences as good or bad? By remaining open to uncertainty, we free ourselves from the prison of expectation and allow life to unfold in its own time. In the words of the Buddha, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Equanimity is the path to this peace, a way of being that transcends the chaos of external circumstances and anchors us in the unshakable strength of the present moment. May we all find the courage to walk this path, embracing life's impermanence with grace and humility. 5. Finding joy in simplicity, the art of living lightly. The story of the Zen master and his modest hut speaks directly to the essence of simplicity. When the traveler asked, "Where are your belongings?" the master's reply, "Where are yours?" carried a profound truth. The traveler's response, "I'm just passing through," may have been a casual remark, but the Zen master's answer, "So am I," turned it into a lesson. It served as a gentle reminder that life itself is a journey, and we are all travelers passing through. What, then, is the point of carrying unnecessary burdens along the way? Simplicity is not about deprivation or denial, but about clarity and presence. It is the art of stripping away what is unnecessary to uncover what truly matters. In a world often dominated by the pursuit of more possessions, more success, more distractions, finding joy in simplicity is a radical act. It invites us to pause, reflect, and realign our lives with the principles of gratitude, mindfulness, and contentment. The Buddha's teachings offer a timeless guide to this way of living. His own life was a testament to simplicity. Born as Prince Siddhartha, he had access to every material comfort imaginable. Yet, he chose to leave his palace and embark on a path of spiritual discovery, recognizing that true fulfillment could not be found in wealth or luxury. His journey teaches us that simplicity is not about what we lack, but about what we choose to cherish. Imagine a small wooden hut nestled in the heart of a forest. Inside, there is little more than a mat, a kettle, and a single window overlooking the trees. To some, this might seem like poverty, but to the Zen master, it is abundance. The hut contains everything needed to live fully: shelter, warmth, and a view of nature's beauty. What more could be required? This perspective challenges the assumptions many of us hold about happiness. Modern culture often equates joy with accumulation. Owning a bigger house, driving a faster car, or acquiring the latest gadget. Yet, countless studies have shown that material wealth has diminishing returns on happiness. Once our basic needs are met, more does not necessarily mean better. The pursuit of possessions often leads to stress, debt, and a sense of emptiness rather than fulfillment. In contrast, simplicity frees us. When we let go of the need to possess, we make room for experiences, relationships, and moments of presence. Think about the times in your life when you felt most at peace. Was it during a lavish celebration, or was it in the quiet moments? A walk in the park, a heartfelt conversation, or the first sip of morning tea? These moments remind us that joy often resides in simplicity, not in complexity. The Buddhist principle of anicca, or impermanence, teaches that everything in life is fleeting. Possessions break, trends fade, and even our own bodies are subject to change. Clinging to what is impermanent only leads to suffering. Simplicity, then, is a way of aligning with the truth of impermanence. By releasing our attachment to material things, we cultivate freedom and resilience. Consider the life of Mahatma Gandhi, who embraced simplicity as a way of living his values. Gandhi's possessions could be counted on one hand. A pair of sandals, a spinning wheel, a bowl, and a few other essentials. Yet, his life was rich with purpose, connection, and impact. He demonstrated that simplicity is not about scarcity but about abundance of spirit. In our own lives, practicing simplicity can be as small as decluttering a drawer or as profound as reevaluating our priorities. The process is not just about removing objects but about rediscovering what brings us joy and meaning. When we let go of what no longer serves us, we make space for what does. The Buddha's teachings on the Eightfold Path also offer guidance for finding joy in simplicity. One of its principles, right livelihood, encourages us to engage in work that aligns with our values and supports a meaningful life. This principle invites us to question whether the endless chase for material success is worth the cost to our well-being, relationships, and the planet. It suggests that true wealth lies not in possessions but in integrity, purpose, and the ability to live in harmony with others. Imagine someone working long hours at a high-paying job they dislike, driven by the desire to maintain a certain lifestyle. They might have a luxurious home, but they rarely have time to enjoy it. Their stress takes a toll on their health, and their relationships suffer. Contrast this with someone who chooses a simpler lifestyle, working in a role they love, spending time with family, and cherishing life's small pleasures. The second person may have less in material terms but lives with a greater sense of contentment. This is the essence of simplicity, choosing quality over quantity, presence over distraction, and purpose over prestige. One of the most profound practices for cultivating simplicity is gratitude. When we focus on what we already have, we shift our attention from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, revealing the beauty in everyday moments. Consider the act of eating a meal. In the rush of daily life, it's easy to eat mindlessly, barely noticing the flavors or textures. But when we approach a meal with gratitude, acknowledging the effort that went into growing, preparing, and serving the food, it becomes a source of joy. Each bite is a reminder of our connection to the earth, to the people who brought the food to our table, and to the present moment. Simplicity also invites us to slow down. In a world that often equates busyness with success, slowing down can feel countercultural. Yet, it is in slowing down that we truly experience life. When we rush, we miss the details. The way sunlight filters through the trees, the sound of laughter, the feeling of wind on our skin. Simplicity encourages us to savor these moments, to immerse ourselves in the richness of the present. The Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh often spoke about the practice of walking meditation, taking each step with mindfulness, feeling the ground beneath your feet, and being fully present. This simple act transforms walking from a means of getting somewhere into a source of peace and joy. Simplicity is not a destination but a journey. It is a practice of continually letting go, of peeling back the layers to reveal the heart of what matters. It is about creating a life that reflects our values rather than societal expectations. It is about finding joy in what is, rather than yearning for what could be. As you reflect on your own life, ask yourself, what truly brings me joy? What can I let go of to create more space for what matters? How can I live more simply, not as a sacrifice, but as a celebration of life's beauty? In the story of the Zen master, the traveler's question about belongings highlights a universal truth. We are all just passing through. Life is a temporary gift, and the more we cling to possessions or status, the more we weigh ourselves down. Simplicity is the key to traveling lightly, to embracing the journey with an open heart and a clear mind. The next time you feel overwhelmed by the complexities of life, remember the master's hut. Look around and ask yourself, what do I truly need? you may find that the answer is not in having more but in appreciating less. And in that appreciation, you may discover a joy that no possession can provide. May we all find the courage to live simply, the wisdom to cherish what matters, and the grace to let go of what does not. In simplicity, there is freedom. In freedom, there is joy. And in joy, there is the profound beauty of life itself. 6. Turning challenges into opportunities. The power of resilience. In the quiet aftermath of a storm, a monk stood before the ruins of his monastery. The walls had crumbled, the sacred spaces lay exposed to the elements, and the work of many years seemed to have vanished in a single night. Yet, as his disciples lamented the devastation, the monk knelt to the ground, picked up a fallen stone, and began to rebuild. "This storm," he said with calm certainty, "has cleared the way for a stronger foundation." This story, simple yet profound, captures the essence of resilience and transformation. It invites us to view adversity not as an end, but as a beginning, a chance to rebuild, renew, and emerge stronger. The monk's actions reflect a timeless truth found in Buddhist teachings. Challenges are not obstacles but opportunities. They are the fertile soil in which growth and wisdom take root. Life is unpredictable. Storms, both literal and metaphorical, are inevitable. They come in the form of loss, failure, illness, or unexpected change. But within each challenge lies a seed of transformation, waiting to be nurtured. How, then, can we cultivate the strength to turn pain into purpose and setbacks into stepping stones? The Buddha's teachings offer a compass for navigating life's storms. Central to these teachings is the concept of dukkha, or suffering, which the Buddha described in the Four Noble Truths. Suffering is an inherent part of existence, arising from our attachments and aversions. Yet, the Buddha also taught that there is a path to liberation, a way to transcend suffering and find peace. When we face challenges, our first instinct is often to resist or avoid them. We wish the storm had never come, or we try to escape its aftermath. But resistance only deepens our pain. Instead, the Buddha invites us to embrace the reality of the moment, to see the challenge for what it is, and to respond with wisdom and compassion. Consider the story of a woman named Kisa Gautami, a figure from Buddhist scriptures. After losing her only child, Kisa was consumed by grief. She went to the Buddha, pleading for him to bring her son back to life. The Buddha gently told her to find a mustard seed from a household that had never known loss. Kisa searched far and wide, but every home she visited had experienced some form of suffering. Through this journey, she came to understand that loss is a universal experience, and her perspective began to shift. She found solace not in denying her pain, but in recognizing her connection to others and embracing the impermanence of life. Kisa's story illustrates a profound truth. Challenges often bring us face to face with impermanence, or anicca. Everything in life is transient. Our successes, our failures, our joys, and our sorrows. When we accept this truth, we begin to see challenges not as disruptions but as natural parts of the human experience. This acceptance lays the foundation for resilience. In modern life, challenges take many forms. An entrepreneur might face the collapse of a business they poured their heart into. A student might struggle with rejection after years of hard work. A parent might grapple with the loss of a loved one or the uncertainty of raising children in an ever-changing world. These moments test us, pushing us to our limits. Yet, they also offer opportunities for growth. Take the example of Oprah Winfrey, whose early life was marked by hardship. Born into poverty and facing numerous personal and professional setbacks, Oprah could have been defined by her challenges. Instead, she used them as fuel for her growth, building a career that not only brought her success, but also allowed her to inspire millions. Oprah often speaks about the power of intention, about using life's difficulties as a way to clarify our purpose and align our actions with our values. Similarly, entrepreneurs like Elon Musk and Sarah Blakely have faced failure on their journeys. Musk's early ventures, including SpaceX and Tesla, were fraught with setbacks, from technical failures to financial struggles. Yet, his resilience and willingness to learn from these challenges propelled him to innovate and achieve extraordinary success. Blakely, the founder of Spanx, turned her initial rejections into opportunities to refine her vision, ultimately creating a billion-dollar brand. These stories remind us that setbacks are not the end of the road but a fork, offering new directions. Resilience, the ability to adapt and thrive in the face of adversity, is a skill that can be cultivated. The Eightfold Path, a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, provides practical steps for developing this inner strength. For instance, right effort encourages us to cultivate positive habits and let go of unwholesome patterns. When faced with a challenge, right effort might mean focusing on what we can control, rather than dwelling on what we cannot. Mindfulness is another powerful tool for building resilience. By staying present with our thoughts and emotions, we learn to observe them without becoming overwhelmed. A person navigating a breakup, for example, might use mindfulness to sit with their pain, acknowledging it without letting it consume them. This practice creates space for healing and helps us respond to challenges with clarity rather than reactivity. Gratitude, too, plays a vital role in turning challenges into opportunities. When we focus on what remains, rather than what we've lost, we shift our perspective from scarcity to abundance. A person who loses their job might initially feel despair, but by reflecting on the skills they've gained and the support they have, they can begin to see the experience as an opportunity for reinvention. The story of the monk rebuilding his monastery reminds us that challenges are not merely things to endure, they are invitations to grow. When the storm destroyed the monastery, it also cleared the way for a stronger foundation. This metaphor extends to our own lives. A broken relationship might teach us the importance of communication and self-awareness. A failed project might highlight areas for improvement and spark creative solutions. Even profound loss, while painful, can deepen our empathy and connect us to others who have walked similar paths. One of the most inspiring aspects of Buddhist philosophy is its emphasis on karma, the law of cause and effect. While karma is often misunderstood as a form of cosmic justice, it is better understood as the principle that our actions shape our experiences. When we respond to challenges with wisdom and compassion, we create positive conditions for the future. This understanding empowers us to take responsibility for our lives, even in the face of adversity. As we navigate life's storms, it can be helpful to reflect on the following questions. What is this challenge teaching me? How can I grow from this experience? What can I do right now to move forward with integrity and purpose? These questions shift our focus from the problem to the possibilities, helping us transform pain into progress. The path of resilience is not an easy one, but it is profoundly rewarding. Each challenge we face and overcome adds to our strength, our wisdom, and our capacity for compassion. Just as the monk rebuilt his monastery stone by stone, we, too, can rebuild our lives after a storm, creating something even more enduring and beautiful. In the end, challenges are not obstacles to our journey. They are the journey. They are the crucible in which our character is forged, the mirror that reflects our deepest truths. By embracing life's storms with courage and grace, we not only survive but thrive, discovering the unshakable foundation within ourselves. May we all find the strength to turn challenges into opportunities, to rebuild after the storm, and to walk the path of resilience with open hearts and steadfast spirits. As the monk reminds us, every storm clears the way for a stronger foundation. The question is not whether storms will come, but how we will rise in their wake. Wrapping up the journey. As we come to the end of today's journey, let's pause for a moment to reflect. Strength is not about never faltering, but about how we rise each time we fall. It's about letting go of what no longer serves us, embracing the beauty of the present, and facing life's storms with quiet determination. Each of the 6 principles we explored, letting go, living in the moment, practicing compassion, staying unshaken, finding joy in simplicity, and turning challenges into opportunities, serves as a guiding light. These teachings remind us that our inner strength doesn't just benefit us. It ripples outward, touching the lives of those around us. So, I leave you with this question. What is one step you can take today to cultivate your own inner strength? Whether it's forgiving yourself, embracing stillness, or finding joy in something small, know that each step matters. If this journey resonated with you, Please like this video and share it with someone who might need a little light in their life. Let us know in the comments which principle spoke to you the most, and don't forget to subscribe to Lotus Light Teachings for more insights and inspiration. Together, let's keep exploring the path to peace, purpose, and strength. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, may you walk with clarity, compassion, and courage. See you soon.